I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is hire slow and fire fast. So this is a rule of thumb in corporate human resources. If you are vetting applicants for an important, well-paid job at your company, then you are likely going to be hiring slow and firing fast. In this context, hiring slow means that it's probably going to take several months to move through this process. Applicants will likely undergo several interviews over that time. Some will be structured, some will be unstructured. Some might be formal tests of ability, some might be informal assessments of character. And these applicants will likely be vetted by many different stakeholders. And if any one of those stakeholders identifies something that doesn't sit right, then the whole process stops on a heartbeat. That's firing fast. And this is wise because most applicants will not be the one the companies hire. So defaulting to rejection is the safer bet statistically. And the company may have a lot to lose by taking on someone who is neither competent nor virtuous, so it's appropriately self-protective. In general, if it works in business, it works with women. And this is no different. When it comes to vetting a woman for a relationship, it is imperative that you hire slow and fire fast. Allowing yourself to become emotionally involved with a woman before you've appropriately vetted her for that relationship is a risky proposition that is unlikely to produce the desired outcome. Why? Because most women will not be a good fit for you, so defaulting to rejection is the safer bet statistically. And you absolutely have a lot to lose by entering into a relationship with someone who is neither competent nor virtuous, so it's appropriately self-protective. If you don't hire slow, then you will likely be misled by your emotional needs and or your sexual attraction to foreclose prematurely, in which case you will likely only have brought on someone competent and virtuous through sheer dumb luck. Relationships are always a roll of the die, gentlemen, but we can do things to even the odds. As I've previously discussed, it's your job, men, to resist the urge to emotionally invest in a given woman prematurely. And to that end, you're going to want to slow down the hiring process as much as possible. There are several really good reasons for this. Among them is the reality that when it comes to women, you can always escalate, but you can never de-escalate. What does that mean? Well, let's take something simple like frequency of contact. When I first get involved with a woman, I'll let about a week go by from the previous interaction before I contact her again. This creates a long runway to move toward regular daily communication. Too many guys make the mistake of falling into daily communication with a woman too soon. And this is a mistake because you leave yourself no escape route. If you train a woman to expect constant communication from the very start, then even responding a few minutes later than you otherwise would is going to create problems. What's going on? Is everything okay? Why are you ignoring me? And you created this problem by training her to expect a certain cadence of attention and interaction. However, the fact of the matter is that this frequency of contact is only warranted with someone you trust, someone who makes your life better, and someone who you've already integrated into your lifestyle. And someone you've just met, almost by definition, is not this someone. If things are going well, you can always decrease the space between subsequent contacts. You can always escalate, but you can never increase this space. You can never de-escalate, at least not without creating unnecessary difficulties in your life. Remember, the easiest way to make a baby cry is to give it a lollipop and then take it away. If you never give it a lollipop to begin with, you won't have a problem on your hands. And if you do decide to give it a lollipop, only do so if you're pretty sure you're not going to want to or have to take it away later. Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, please consider sending this episode to someone who might benefit from its message, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. You can also hit the thanks button and tip me in proportion to the value you feel you've received from this episode. It's your contributions that help make all of this happen. I really appreciate them. Thank you very much. It's actually fairly normal not to give too much attention to someone you just met. Like, don't you have other things to do? Do you really have so little going on in your life that you can afford to chat for hours with someone who just a short time ago was a complete stranger to you? My brothers, even if you don't have something better to do, which is a problem that you should address sooner as opposed to later, you have to act like you have something better to do, because if you don't, you're not going to leave any space for that something better to eventually come into your life. It's just going to be filled with the first woman who showed some degree of interest in you. And the jury is still out on her. So this isn't really playing a game as much as it is acting like a mature adult who has interests, responsibilities, and an emotionally compelling lifestyle. So that's an example of hire slow in the context of dating. On the other hand, fire fast means that as soon as it becomes clear that a woman shows a red flag, whether it's a concerning behavior or a toxic personality trait, you stop investing in her emotionally. That means that you either disengage from her entirely or you silo her into a casual sexual relationship and you keep a tight rein on your emotions. Men, it is your fault if you allow yourself to become emotionally involved with untrustworthy women or emotionally dysregulated women or aggressive, disrespectful women. Like, I understand that there are some good liars out there, and many of those good liars are women. But not all liars are good. In fact, most of them aren't. These women tell on themselves all the time. Ask any man who has been through the ringer of a dysfunctional relationship, and if he's honest with himself, he can generally look back and identify signs of that dysfunction very early on in the courtship process. He saw the red flags and he ignored them or rationalized them away, typically because he had already decided to emotionally invest in this particular woman, and typically because she was either really hot and or she was fucking him really good. Their sexual attraction or their lack of optionality functionally trapped them in a situation that they understood was not in their best interests, but that they hoped might be nevertheless. And what facilitates the ability to fire fast? A very large applicant pool. Some companies are constantly interviewing applicants, even if they're not actively hiring. Do you understand? If you wait to interview until you have an opening, you're basically planning to have a disruption in your operations. And this is something that successful companies can easily avoid with a little forethought. A large applicant pool allows companies to hire the right person for the job instead of the first person to show interest. Optionality makes it easier for people to act with dignity in their relationships because it functionally enables them to not have to choose between being alone and being respected. Women kind of have this optionality passively, like by default. Since the majority of men will have sex with the majority of women, a woman could go out tonight and get something going if she wanted to. It might not lead to a committed relationship, but at least she will be desired, she will be accompanied, and she will have her foot in the door. The same is not true for men. Men have to create their optionality. It takes time and effort to do so, but trust me, it is worth it. When a woman shows her true colors, it's optionality that will help you to tell her to go pound sand, allowing you to fire fast. And it's optionality that will make you more patient and less hungry about moving things along, allowing you to hire slow. Its usefulness cannot be overstated. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've gotten this far, you might as well like this episode and subscribe to this channel. You may also consider becoming a channel member with perks like the priority review of comments or booking a paid consultation. As always, thank you for listening.